Hey guys, this is Jobleroon. Welcome to another Sicilian defense sacrifice video. We're going to dive straight into it, look at another dragon video. This is I have a friend who almost plays a dragon exclusively against e4, just about goes into nothing else. He loves the dragon so much, so this is for you. Okay, so we have e4, c5. I'm just going to quickly skim through the rest of these moves. I'll talk about it as we go. This is the setup for the Yugoslav attack against the dragon. For those who are curious what exact setup white is taking here, this is the old line, the bishop c4 line, and white does some interesting things here, probably made a few mistakes. White, you'll see castles very late here after bishop to d7. This bishop comes back to b3 to preempt that rook to c8 move. Queen comes out to a5, g4. So these are all standard moves that white makes here, except that the order's a little bit wishy-washy. These moves, g4 and h4, should come much later. For black, this is all standard. This rook f comes to c8. You could go either way, it doesn't matter too much, but I like rook f to c8 because it means his king's got more room to groove at the back there in case white decides to attack. So this knight, this is still standard moves. Knight comes out to e5. You might be thinking, what is black trying to do here, Jobleroon? Well, this knight here wants to jump into that c4 square and fork that queen and bishop, and then that bishop on b3, although it's got a very nice diagonal, that bishop will have to trade with that knight, and black will get to keep that open file, as you'll see here. White plays h5, black still doesn't care, continues with their plan. Knight comes into c4, white trades, black takes back with the rook, and here we reach an interesting point. White decides to take, not castle yet. Black simply trades back. Trading back with the h-pawn wouldn't be the best idea because then that queen could hook over to h2, threaten some back rank possibilities there, may take on that h7 pawn. Here, white finally decides after black takes back that pawn to castle. It's a nice simple move. Black completes development, rook a to c8, and here white plays a very important move, king to b1. Now, note here, if white decided to do something like trade off that dragon bishop that it's called on g7 there, with bishop to h6, this would be met by a bit of a tactical shot. Knight takes e4, and you think, okay, well, can we take back with that knight at all? That would be pretty dangerous because of queen takes a2, threatening a back rank mate there. If queen comes to d3, we simply play rook takes knight, attacking that queen. Can't take back, of course, because of the bishop. Things are looking pretty dicey for that queen there. I'm not going to go too much into that, and it looks like definitely a lost game there for white. If we had knight takes, if we had f takes, and then maybe, sorry, where were we at? Okay, bishop h6, sorry, then, yep, knight takes e4, if we had f takes e4, we could also play then bishop takes d4, grabbing that knight for free. Very strong, sorry, not for free, very strong attack that black has got going here. Not good. So it's not in white's interest to put that bishop on h6 just yet. So we'll continue. Pawn takes, that's right, we had rook coming out to c8. And here after king b1, critical moment. Now, does anyone, if you remember from that last video, black also had another sacrifice up their sleeve. Because anyone remember where that knight on f6 wants to go? Key square, because think about it, there's a sacrifice happening on c3 that black wants to play, and this knight wants to get involved in the attack as well. Where would that knight travel to? e4, but there's a pawn defending e4, so how do we remove that pawn defending e4? We tempt it to go to somewhere else with bishop takes g4. Bishop takes g4, f takes g4, and then finally our sacrifice that we're all looking out for, rook takes. Now, this one's a little bit different because we no longer have a bishop onto e6 threatening queen takes a2 and those kind of shenanigans down that side of the board. So we have to come up with something different here. So rook takes, and we reach a really important point in the game because here if Litzberger decided to take with the b pawn, this gets pretty tricky, but if I decide to take with the b pawn, this is pretty much losing. Knight takes, queen goes to h2, which is a pretty solid move, attacking that pawn, threatening some kind of mating attack down that end of the board. And here we simply go knight takes check, king c1, knight takes, and black has a few different possibilities. A winning move, of course, would be knight takes d1, grabbing that rook, because after, and you think, well, white's got all these checks though, don't they? Have a look at this. So we go queen takes h7 check, king f8, rook f1 check, king e8, queen takes g6 check, king d8, this king's running a long way, knight goes into e6 check, king at d7, but here the checks run out pretty much. There's not so much that white can do here. And after king takes on d1, we simply play queen d5 check, grabbing that knight, and you're going to have a pretty nice game from there on in because we have that extra pawn. So here really black will be fine, and that was seen, so that's why that pawn didn't take. Some other interesting possibilities here, if say we'll go back, pawn takes, knight takes, queen h2, knight c3 check, king c1. If we did something else, let's say knight takes a2 check, we would have, this would be met by say king b2, and there's a bunch of moves here that would be losing for black. If to be honest, if black played rook c3, this would be met by a winning combination queen takes on h7, king f8, rook f1. Remember, we couldn't do this with the rook before because that rook was taken by the knight. King e8, queen takes on g6, king d8, and here you need to spot the winning combination. This is a little bit tricky, but I'll give you guys a moment. Rook h8 check, bam. This king has to get off that file. Now, very dangerous here. If king goes to d7, queen comes e8 check. King's really running out of places to go, and once he picks the only square, knight gets that mate onto e6. Now, so a really nice combination there from white if black goes down that line. So black definitely cannot play rook to c3. So instead, if black decides instead of rook to c3, if black plays queen to c3, well, white simply takes that knight, and if you want to get that rook back involved into the game, same kind of thing happens. So we can't do that, except instead here, this knight's going to break black's heart by going to b5, forking the king queen once he travels to that c7 square. So we can't do any of that. Instead, one other combination black could play is h6, which would, I think, which would win the game for black. Rook d3, rook c3, and we have rook takes, knight takes, because we don't want to lose that knight to the king once that queen takes. So we have to take back with the knight, king c1, and then we have knight d5. We are as black down a rook, but with 4 pawns in compensation, I think we should be okay here. So there are some possibilities, like maybe a rook sacrifice gaining a few pawns back, but I think in the end black should have that game. But the thing is with that game, white didn't do any of that. White played instead, going back to this point, instead of when that rook takes on c3, knight e6, trying to target that bishop there on g7, taking away an important attacker for black. And queen comes over to e5. I think this is, it might have been a slightly stronger move here, and knight takes e4. Because knight takes e4, we have queen to e1, rook c2, knight takes g7 maybe, the queens would be on. But more importantly here, I think knight takes, sorry, what's going on? Komodo's playing up. Okay, so we have knight takes, queen e1, rook to c2, and note here, if queen decided to come in with a check, coming with a take on a5, sorry guys, I'm a bit all over the place today, we would have a rook check, followed by a discovered check, and bishop would have to block. In which case I think that black has got this game. So nice little combination there. But instead, queen e5, knight takes, knight then jumps into our e4 square, queen travels up to d4, our rook's going to take on e3. Now notice this would be a mistake if the queen decides to grab that rook. If you spot why, queen grabs rook, knight c3 check, so this queen then has to return and take back that knight. If you take with the pawn, you just bye-bye queen. So can't do any of that. Queen trades off queen. Pawn takes queen. And I'm going to stop it here because really in the end, all that happens is that black looks to swap off pieces against white. There's not too many tricky tactical things in this game, so white makes a big mistake here playing rook to d8, just allows black to swap off, and black just starts marching pawns down the board, turning into an easy win here, and that's where the game ended. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one, a bit of a wishy-washy dragon game. I think lots of mistakes played by white. There were a few key moments that black could have maybe done slightly better, but the overlying themes were still present. You saw it in that sacrifice. We still had that, scroll back up, we still had that rook sacrifice and that bishop sacrifice. So we actually went bishop sacrifice first, rook sac, and this knight comes into the e4 square. So guys, I'm going to end it there. I'll just cap off by saying rook takes c3, really strong sacrifice, and it's usually coupled with a few other things such as that bishop sacrifice, because we do really want to get that knight to that e4 square. This is particularly important in something like the Yugoslav attack where that queen rests on d2. It's important that knight gets to that e4 square so that knight can partake in the attack on the queen side. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is Joe Blarone signing off. I will see you guys next time.